There exists a substance so powerful, so vital, that every empire, every bloodline, every legacy has depended on it. It is not gold, nor oil, nor information. It is the seed of man, his semen. And though modern society treats it as disposable, ancient civilizations knew the truth. Within this fluid lies the essence of the soul. Taoists called it Jung, the foundational energy of life. Vedic sages believed it took 40 drops of blood to make 1 drop of semen. That's how sacred they saw it. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that Atum, the first god, created the universe through his own emission. To them, semen was not just biological, it was cosmological, divine, the bridge between man and godhood. Fast forward to today, and that same sacred force is mocked, drained, and wasted in the glow of a phone screen. But let us return to truth. Biologically small, yes, but spiritually immense. Your semen is potential incarnate, to create life, to forge legacy, to leave something behind that echoes long after you're gone. It is a currency far more valuable than any dollar. Because while money can build an empire, only your seed can continue it. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, understood this deeply. He theorized that libido, sexual energy, was not just about sex. It was the energetic foundation of the psyche itself. Every action, ambition, and neurosis stemmed from how a man related to this force. The great irony? The same energy that can enslave him through addiction is the very energy that can liberate him into power. Your semen is not separate from your mind. It is the engine behind your will. And if you lose it recklessly, you dilute your soul. Napoleon Hill, in his legendary book Think and Grow Rich, revealed a secret that most readers overlooked. Hidden within its pages was a chapter that made many uncomfortable: sexual transmutation. Hill discovered that behind every truly great man, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, there was a mastery of this primal force. Not abstinence out of shame, but control out of purpose. These men had learned that the sexual urge, once refined, became fuel for genius. Hill put it plainly: when a man redirects his sexual energy, he gains the drive to build nations, not just chase women. And this is where many fall, because most men never transmute. They release, release, and release until nothing's left. No energy, no hunger, no edge. Their spirit becomes bankrupt, emptied one orgasm at a time. You think ejaculation is harmless? Try telling that to your lost ambition, your fading motivation, your forgotten mission. Every time you release without purpose, you pay with your fire, and in time, that fire dies. We now live in an age of engineered seduction. Pornography is no longer a secret, it is a business, one that profits from your weakness. Each click trains your brain to expect reward without effort. Each session drains your dopamine, leaving you more anxious, less focused, and spiritually neutered. You are being farmed for your energy and told it's freedom. But make no mistake, this is slavery by pleasure. Even social media has become a digital siren song, luring your attention with cleavage, filters, and false validation. Scrolling endlessly through images of women you will never touch, your mind becomes scattered, your instincts hijacked. You are not just distracted, you are being sedated. In Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction, he writes of how seducers steal power from their targets, not by force, but by attention. And when you give your gaze, your energy, your lust to a woman, or worse, a screen, you forfeit your throne. The seducer doesn't have to touch you, she just has to make you want. So ask yourself, who benefits from your ejaculation? Who profits from your lack of discipline? Who gains when your semen is wasted, your energy depleted, your spirit dimmed? Understand this, your semen is your spirit. It is the distilled form of your masculine essence, and if you treat it like nothing, you will become nothing. But if you guard it, like gold, if you harness it, transmute it, and rise above lust, then you become a man of rare power, a man of depth, a man who no longer chases, but builds, leads, creates, conquers. You were never meant to be a slave to your desires. You were meant to master them. And in doing so, you awaken the ancient truth that modern men have forgotten, that within your seed lies your soul, and the man who guards it rules the world. In a world obsessed with pleasure and indulgence, there is no greater rebellion than restraint. And in the modern battlefield of the masculine spirit, semen retention is not just discipline, it is warfare, spiritual warfare. You are not merely resisting temptation, you are protecting your kingdom. Because your semen is not just fluid, it is gold, forged within you, refined by struggle, and wasted by the undisciplined. The man who understands this guards it the way a king guards his treasure, not with shame, but with reverence. Carl Jung taught that every man contains within him the anima, the feminine energy of intuition, emotion, beauty. But here's where the battle begins. Most men project this anima outward. They seek it in women, in sex, in validation. They chase it because they feel incomplete. And in that chase, they lose themselves. Jung's wisdom wasn't to avoid the feminine, but to integrate it, to find wholeness within, so that no woman, no pleasure, no image could seduce you into forgetting who you are. When you retain, you reclaim. You stop chasing the woman, and instead become the man she is drawn to. Freud called it sublimation, the redirection of sexual energy into higher outlets. It's not about repression. Repression creates shame, guilt, and neurosis. But sublimation, that is alchemy. You take the most primal force inside you, the desire to penetrate, to dominate, to explode, and you harness it. You convert it into ambition, focus, creation. Instead of spilling your essence into the void, you pour it into your craft, your mission, your legacy. That's what semen retention is. It's not just a no-fap challenge. It is the conscious transformation of animal into architect. Every time you resist the urge, you fortify your mind. You sharpen your spirit. The fog lifts. Suddenly, you don't feel so emotionally erratic, so easily influenced. You become still. And in that stillness, you begin to radiate power. You notice people respond to you differently, not because of what you say, but because of what you don't give away. Your aura becomes denser. You speak less, but when you do, it carries weight. You walk slower, but every step has intention. Why? Because your energy is no longer leaking. You've reclaimed your current. Jung called this individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming whole, mastering the unconscious, integrating the shadow. And the first step is mastery over your most primal instinct, lust. Lust, in its raw form, is chaotic. It pulls men into addictions, into mediocrity, into slavery. But when observed, understood, and redirected, it becomes the jet fuel of genius. It is not the man who suppresses desire who becomes strong. It is the man who commands it. He does not flee from the battlefield of temptation. He stands at the gates, unmoved. That is the warrior. Robert Greene echoes this in his law of self-sufficiency. The man who needs nothing holds the highest leverage. Women are drawn to him because he does not chase. Enemies respect him because he is unpredictable. The marketplace rewards him because he creates from power, not desperation. That kind of strength can't be bought. It can't be faked. It is built, one retained moment at a time. While other men give away their energy for likes, orgasms, and fleeting highs, the sovereign man keeps his. And because of that, the world begins to orbit around him. In a world drowning in porn, instant gratification, and dopamine addiction, semen retention is not just hard, it is heroic. The monks knew it. The ancient samurai practiced it. The greatest warriors in history embraced periods of celibacy, not as punishment, but as preparation. Preparation for war, for conquest, for mastery. Their celibacy was not weakness, it was sharpening, because every man has a limited reservoir of life force. And when that force is preserved, It doesn't just sit idle. It rises. It builds pressure. And that pressure can either explode in lust or evolve into legacy. So understand this. The modern world does not want you to retain. It wants you docile, drained, distracted. It wants you jerking off to pixels, medicating your ambition with orgasms, forgetting your purpose with every seductive scroll. And every time you comply, you become less than what you were designed to be. Retention is rebellion. It is a silent war against a system built to rob you of your divinity. Guard your gold, because semen is not just physical, it is spiritual capital. The more you keep, the more you build. The more you build, the less you need. And the man who needs nothing becomes unstoppable. There comes a time in every man's journey when he must decide what kind of legacy he wants to leave behind. A fleeting echo, or a living monument. And the difference, more often than not, lies in how he chooses to wield his energy. Not just his mental energy, not just his time, but his life force, his semen. Be sure to listen to the very end to fully grasp this philosophy. You see, most men don't realize that your seed is your signal. It's a silent broadcast to the world, to women, to the universe itself, of who you are, what you value, and what you're building. Women don't fall for your words. They're drawn to your discipline. They feel the restraint in your posture, the calm in your gaze. It's not hunger that attracts them, it's command. Because the man who retains does not need, and that lack of need is the deepest source of attraction and influence. It's no coincidence that the most magnetic men in history weren't those who begged for attention, but those who mastered stillness. True power moves without noise. It does not chase, it draws in. People begin to feel your presence in a room before you speak, not because of how you dress or what you drive, but because they can sense something most have lost, a contained, unbroken fire inside you. When your life force is guarded, your aura becomes heavier, richer. You carry a weight, an unspoken authority. The man who does not waste his seed walks with God in his gut. But modern men have been taught the opposite, to indulge, to release, to worship ejaculation as pleasure, rather than treat it as sacrifice. You spill it nightly without a second thought, and then wonder why your motivation is weak, your purpose unclear, your energy scattered. Every time you ejaculate without intention, you are not gaining, you are losing. Losing clarity, losing potential, losing destiny. What should have been a sword you wielded, you traded for a moment of comfort. Understand, every release should be a conscious act, a deliberate offering, not an unconscious escape from boredom, stress, or lust. Instead of chasing release, redirect that current. Let every surge of erotic energy be a reminder, not to react, but to build. Build your body. Train until your strength becomes a silent testament to your self-control. Build your business. Channel that restless energy into creation, into income, into systems that print wealth while you sleep. Build your legacy. Write, record, design, speak. Construct the version of you that will still breathe when your body no longer does. Napoleon Hill said it plainly. When sexual energy is transmuted, it becomes the momentum of the gods. It is the divine spark that can elevate an ordinary man into a master of his world. And this brings us to the final truth, the one most men will never realize. Your semen is not just a physical fluid, it is spiritual fire, a sacred flame passed down through your lineage. In it is encoded not just your DNA, but your story, your strength, your struggles, your essence. To waste it on strangers, on screens, on late-night weakness, is to insult the divine. You were not meant to give your spirit to digital fantasies or faceless pleasures. You were meant to offer it only when it meant something, when it created life, or honored love, or aligned with purpose. The man who masters retention does not become cold or distant. He becomes luminous. His eyes sharpen. His speech carries weight. His very presence inspires respect, awe, and curiosity. He doesn't need to say, "I'm an alpha." He simply is. Not because he dominates others, but because he masters himself. That's what true masculinity is. Not horniness disguised as confidence, not indulgence dressed as success, but the quiet fire of a man who walks with full command of his lower nature. A man who has turned his lust into light, flesh into spirit, desire into direction. So remember this, the real power was never in chasing. It was never in the orgasm. It was never in the conquest. The real power was in what you could have done, but chose to withhold. What you could have released, but chose to transform. The world is full of men who gave it all away, but history remembers the few who kept it, guarded it, grew it, and then used it to build something eternal. Because your semen is not just sex, it is spirit. And when you protect it like gold, you rise like a king. Thus remember, we are Indeceptor. Becoming Indeceptor is the code they never wanted you to learn. A psychological war map for men, forbidden teachings fused with modern strategy for influence, dominance, and self-mastery. If you want peace, prepare for war.